The closer we get to Election Day, the more disastrous and disingenuous the defense of Donald Trump and the rest of the other MAGA Republicans running up and down the ballot becomes from these Trump stooges, these talking heads we see appear in the mainstream media doing everything they can to lie on behalf of Donald Trump. And chief among them, it appears, is Scott Jennings, who we regularly talk about on this program because he is just so bad at what he does. And we saw that on a recent CNN panel in which Scott was not only trying to defend Bernie Moreno, who is the Republican Senate nominee in Ohio, who made some pretty gross comments recently, but tried to defend Donald Trump's abortion position. And we're going to get into all of it. And Scott was called out for it, thank goodness. But instead of just talking about it, let's check out the clip. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, it goes a long way in supporting the channel. Now let's check out this clip.
You heard what Bernie Moreno said, his staff, I should say. They said it was a tongue-in-cheek joke. However, it's almost as if Republicans are recognizing this is not a good issue for them, and they're just like, well, we're never going to get those ladies.
Yeah. I'd love for the fellas to respond to that one.
Look, I think a couple things. On the Moreno comment, which we played, I always tell candidates, don't be a comedian, because you're not, and don't be a pundit, because you're not. You're a candidate. And when you're talking about issues and you're talking about people, even people that may disagree with you on an issue, you have to do so with great care and understanding their views, and also understanding there may be other issues you can talk to them about. They may not agree with you on this, but maybe they would agree with you on that. You sort of forfeit that when you start to become flip and kind of a pundit on your own on your own thing. So my advice to Moreno would be, look, maybe you've got some disagreements here, but what should you be talking about? And this goes for Trump, too. The economy, cost of living, food prices, immigration, public safety, those are the things.
They got to figure out how to talk about abortion. I mean, this is one of the top issues for voters.
I'm going to add one thing, just because I agree with Scott's two rules. My other rule to candidates is always, you are always on. Somebody has a phone, they're recording you, so you're never having a private conversation. So shut up. Just don't do it, right?
True.
But with regard to this, I mean, you know, this seeming attack, and I will say, as a single woman who does not have children, it is starting to feel like a bit of an attack. You know, we're being attacked because we're old and now our wombs are drying up and we should just be grandmothers or, you know, and raise somebody else's kids, or, you know, there's something wrong with us if we don't have children. And it's so out of touch with the reality that it's why 57% of Ohioans voted to codify Roe v. Wade. And it's about rights. It's about our fundamental freedom. As a woman in her 50s, I literally had a right taken away from me 2 years ago. That is how a lot of women feel, regardless of whether or not you are childbearing age.
But one thing I think we should also point out, though, and I agree with you, Scott, 100%. Don't be a pundit, don't be a comic. And I think he phrased it badly. What he was trying... I'm not going to say what he was trying to say. I saw...
I was going to say...
you don't want to go there, brother.
Sure,
I don't want to do that. But
I
did see... There was a Kaiser Family Foundation poll earlier this year, this summer actually, it was about a month or so ago, of women. Abortion ranked 10th. It was only 10% named it as the top issue for 2024. It was the economy. It was immigration. It was the things that we were talking about. And so while 10%... they're probably already pot committed in terms of who they're going to support, whether they are pro-life or they're pro-abortion. You know who you're supporting. But it's the other 90% you've also got to...
I think you misread that statistic. The fact that it's 10th on the list, I'm not sure what that list is.
Fifth on the list.
Fifth on the list doesn't mean that only 10% of women care about it.
10% named it as the top.
I would say that other polls, including a CNN SSRS poll just this week, it's number 3 in terms of the top issues. So it's after the economy, it's after protecting democracy.
And
but
8 in 10 Americans
it's right up there at the
support Roe v. Wade. 8 in 10 Americans support Roe v. Wade. So I don't know where your 10% comes from, but it's a majority
Republicans
issue.
are not only struggling, but Trump is just now saying, well, I'll be your protector, as if that addresses the issue.
And
he really doesn't.
And he has no credibility on this issue. He was the one who appointed the 3 justices who overturned Roe versus Wade. Dobbs is because of Donald Trump. If it weren't for Donald Trump, women would still have the right to have control over their own bodies in this country. But 1 out of 3 women in the country now live in states with a Trump abortion ban. And every state that has had this on it has a constitutional amendment, as a ballot measure. 6 states have had it, and every state has approved allowing women the right to have control over their own bodies, which is what their right was for all of our lives. And the fact that the Republican Party wants to go back, and now Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and others are realizing they made a big, huge mistake, and they're trying to figure out how do they dig out of it. And he can't even come up with a straight answer of what his opinion is on the amendment in Florida.
Well, he's not voting for the amendment.
But he had to change his opinion to get
First he
there.
didn't like it, but now he's okay with it.
I actually think he has a fairly moderate and defensible position on this topic.
Ronald Reagan, I know it.
And yeah, because it's been our party's position going back for a very long time. It is possible to be where most Americans are, some reasonable limits, and people disagree, but it could be between 15 and 20 weeks. He believes in the 3 exceptions: rape, incest, and life of the mother, which has widespread support. He believes in IVF technologies, and heck, even wants to pay for some of it. Which even as a fiscal conservative, concerns some Republicans, but that's a pretty moderate, defensible position. That having been said, nothing is going to happen in Washington because all the action is at the states, and as you just pointed out, the momentum is with the pro-abortion people in the states right now.
But wait.
People are dying.
We do have to go, but I'll let you.
Okay.
Meanwhile, women are dying in the States, or some women are losing their ability to have children in the future. Doctors are terrified. But also, because Scott, I've heard you make that argument before, it's not like he's saying, women, you're safe because I promise I will codify Roe v. Wade. He's saying, no, back to the states. So that is not the moderate position in 2024.
A totally ridiculous assertion to say that Donald Trump's position on abortion, the man singularly most responsible in the world for overturning Roe v. Wade, is moderate. There's nothing moderate about Donald Trump, who has said that he believes women who have abortions should be punished. There's nothing moderate about the women who have already lost their lives because of Donald Trump's abortion bans in states all across this country. There's nothing moderate about that. And I was glad to see a little bit of pushback on Scott Jennings. Of course, we are going to push back more because it was not enough. But what a ridiculous thing to say. What a strange defense to say, no, Donald Trump he's moderate in the GOP. What, just because he's a liar? Just because he's willing to flip-flop in any given direction, whatever is going to help him politically that day without any care for anything else? But I guess that is the MO of Donald Trump. And Kamala Harris continues to make this, of course, as she should, such a central message in her campaign. And when talking about Donald Trump and how he plans to vote on an abortion amendment in Florida, she called him out, but something else funny happened that I want to check out.
And now Donald Trump says that he would personally cast his vote in Florida, which is where he now lives, to support their extreme abortion ban, just like the one that is here in Georgia. And
I love the call from the crowd, the felons can't vote. It just cracks me up. I love that clip, but it's a little bit of a lighter note on what is a very serious and at times dark discussion of the damage that Donald Trump has done to people's lives across this country because of his disgusting and disgraceful abortion bans. Abortion bans that are only implemented because of him. And we have to keep talking about them like that. And we absolutely should and will, and Kamala Harris has. And so while we enjoyed that bit of a lighter moment, I think it's time that we take a serious look at what Kamala Harris had to say in this clip right here.
think about that. When you compound that with what has been longstanding neglect of women in communities with a lack of the adequate resources they need for health care, prenatal, during their pregnancy, postpartum. Think about that. And these hypocrites want to start talking about this is in the best interest of women and children. Well, where you been? Where you been when it comes to taking care of the women and children of America? Where you been? How dare they?
MAGA Republicans want to pretend that they are somehow the party of family values, even though the leader of their party had an affair while his third wife was pregnant. Not very family values there, but what Kamala Harris is saying in the speech is so resonant, so important. When have you showed up? Child tax credit? No. Universal child care? No. Investing in education? No. I remember when Republicans were voting against some of the most basic elements of what you would consider family values. Baby formula. Do you remember that? 2022? They were voting against ramping up the expansion and production of baby formula to make it cheaper when there wasn't enough. How are these people family values? They've never shown up and they never will. And if we need a side-by-side comparison, let's take a look at what Donald Trump is trying to say as his position.
No, because I am your protector. I want to be your protector. As president, I have to be your protector. I hope you don't make too much of it. I hope the fake news doesn't go, oh, he wants to be their protector. Well, I am. As president, I have to be your protector.
The protector of women? Yeah, no, I'm good. I think America's women are also good on that one. I think they prefer anyone but Donald Trump. I think we're taking Kamala's side. I am. I hope you are. And we're going to keep having this conversation. We're going to keep talking about all this until Election Day and after on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.